You're listening to the Public Sector Show by Tech Tables, a podcast dedicated to sharing human-centric stories from CIOs and technology leaders across the city, county, state, and federal agencies, joining in the conversation and touching the hearts and minds of leaders across technology today. From mission-driven leadership to cloud, AI to cybersecurity, workforce challenges, and more, never miss insights from peers and vendor partners across the public sector. And to make sure you never miss an episode, head over to techtables.com and drop your email to subscribe. New podcast episodes come out every Tuesday and Thursday, along with weekly Behind the Mic newsletter. And one of today's podcast sponsors is Tech Tables Plus, an engaging new community where you can have early access to never-before-released episodes, early access to live event recordings, early access to weekly 3 interesting learnings, early access to live event ticket purchases, no episode ads, and more. Plus 3 extra special bonuses when you sign up today. Bonus number 1, access to the CEO show. Bonus number 2, access to the Higher Ed show. And bonus number 3, access to the Digital show. Join Tech Tables Plus today. As always, thank you for supporting the Tech Tables Network. Today we have Ray Yepes, the recently appointed CISO for the state of Colorado. Ray, welcome to Tech Tables.
Thank you very much, Joe. Hey, what a great pleasure to be here. Thank you, sir.
I'm so excited. And before we jump into today's episode, this podcast is sponsored by SentinelOne. SentinelOne redefines cybersecurity by pushing the boundaries of autonomous technology. With the Singularity XDR platform, SentinelOne is the leader in endpoint protection and beyond. Simply put, they stop the bad guys. To learn more about SentinelOne, check out SentinelOne.com. And of course, this podcast is also sponsored by the Live Podcast Tour. Join us for these small, live, intimate podcast conversations across the U.S. I've got 2 left this year, Ray. September 23rd in Sacramento and October 14th in Tallahassee. And looking forward to, I think we're going to do 10 to 12 of these next year. If you want me to come to a city near you, email me, joe@techtables.com. Love the live events. All right, so I'm going to kick off this episode with Ray, and I'm very excited. Ray's a really smart guy, and we're going to tackle a couple critical topics today. It's going to be a fantastic episode. Ray, let's start with centralized versus decentralized governments. What have you seen from your experience working in cybersecurity, both in Texas and in Colorado? What are some of the benefits, maybe some cons? Can you break that down for us?
Absolutely. A great question, Joe. It's interesting to see the difference between the two of them. Many people will refer to us as a decentralized and Colorado as a centralized. One of the big things that people don't notice, that they share a model, which is the shared services model, is often confused with centralized services. And Texas, in my opinion, is based on the shared services model more than the centralized. Colorado is truly unique with centralized service. The shared services model is designed to provide services to customers, and that's usually what we see in Texas, where these customers are internal or business unit leaders or even external customers. They are providing these centralized services are usually an extension of the functional teams, already located at the enterprise level. So for instance, in Colorado, truly we're centralized. We're doing the services, and we're agencies. We call the agencies that belong to the centralized model. We have consolidated or non-consolidated agencies in Colorado. The consolidated agencies, basically, we are the one who get the service, their IT, their security, and so forth. If that makes sense. Texas, with the shared services model, they have certain services, that they can offer, customers, every agency alike. But each agency is still separate and unique. To give you an example, each agency will have their own CISO. It comes down to that. Texas is different. Again, each agency has their own ISO, CISO, CIO, director of IT, whatever they need to have. They're unique that aspect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, this is great. And I think because we've talked offline a couple times, I jumped the gun a little bit. People might be thinking, Joe, raised in Colorado, but you're talking about Texas. Can you maybe talk about your background in Texas and then the transition that you made? And then that way, I think we'll get everyone up to speed on the conversation.
Sure thing. Prior to joining the state of Colorado, I started in Colorado, April 25th of this year. So it has been on the job, for a little bit over. Prior to that, I was the CISO, for the third largest state agency in Texas called DPSS. I was there for 5 years, as their CISO. And again, it's the third largest agency by size in Texas.
Awesome. So Ray has this unique perspective of being at an agency with that kind of that shared services model and seeing everything there. And then Ray picked up and left Texas and moved to Colorado. I love Colorado. Shout out. I went to college in Colorado. Moved to Colorado. Yeah. Colorado's great. There's a lot of nice spots. I moved to an entirely now, when you move from the shared services model to this centralized model, was that a big change, or was this something that you had wanted to see happen? How was that process for you, being at the third largest agency in Texas and then moving to an entirely different model?
Well, in my opinion, Joe, and from a security perspective, it makes sense to be in a centralized model. And at least it's less of a nightmare from a security perspective, because now you have full control. The issue, when you don't have a centralized government, when it comes down to your infrastructure, each one of them is different. So now the risk is dependent 100% on that particular agency. Here, the risk is one entity only. So you have better control, from a security perspective. And there's also advantage, from economical perspective, and being able to maintain, one single infrastructure for everybody. The same IT staff, will provide, IT, services, to all the different. But from a security perspective, oh my goodness, in my opinion, is the way to go. I really like it. Before accepting this job, of course, I went to read, about Colorado, and how the IT infrastructure was centralized, a move that they made back in 2008. And the biggest reason why they made it back then was when we hit the recession at the time. It was a way to save costs. And again, from an economical perspective, it will save costs. And from a security perspective, it will also reduce your risk.
Yeah, no, that's really great. And so this actually, talking about the economic perspective, let's jump to cyber insurance. Now, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of CISOs, and it's a hot topic these days, right? So we got premiums and deductibles are rising while payouts are falling. Not to mention companies that are trying to find fault with the internal processes to reduce those payouts. This is like a life insurance scam. Colorado has opted with the self-insured model, so I like this. I'm calling this, you become your own bank. I really like this idea. Tell us how that process is going and what you would like to see in order to protect the state of Colorado, and what you feel like you would need enough emergency funds to self-insure against the cyber risk that's out there.
Great question, and I agree with you, Joe. It has been the topic, of everywhere you go, people are talking about cyber insurance. Currently, Colorado, is an insured state, all right? And when I first started coming for the state, one of the first things, that was asked to approve was our cyber insurance bill. So I look at the bill, I go and say, okay, great. I want to see, the previous year's bill. I want to make sure, that comparing apples to apples, pairs with pairs, and just making sure, I'm making the right call, before approving this. So I look at the previous bill, and one of the things, I noticed, that our insurance went from $500,000, to $2 million in 1 year. Needless to say, that our current provider at the time even dropped us, so we have to go with a different provider to insure the state. Of course, you start seeing, higher insurance premium, you start seeing higher deductibles and less benefits. One of the things, that you will see, with it, this is happening to everybody. We're not the only ones. One of the things, that I did before deciding to and sell legislation, my self-insured program for Colorado, was I started asking, other CISOs, other states. I started conducting, my own survey, asking people, are you insured? Are you not insured or self-insured? And the majority, 80% plus, are either self-insured or considering going self-insured within the next year. So it's a movement, that is happening across the board, just about everybody. And again, it's interesting because if you ask me, does cyber insurance work? Absolutely. But in my opinion, it works better, for the corporate sector. Corporate America, I would definitely advise them, to consider having cyber insurance. For any government entity, I would highly recommend, going self-insured or no insurance at all. One of them. I'm going to explain why. But in Colorado, some of the things, that I've been trying to work on, our premium is now $2 million. I figure, that $2 million is already my annual budget. So ideally, what I want to do, okay, is set up, $2 million, okay, to use, okay, in case, okay, that we're hit, okay, with a breach or that we have to pay, CDOT incident, okay, a few years back was about $1.7 million in cost. So meaning that the $2 million, okay, would actually pay and cover for that. But the advantage, okay, of government entities, okay, that most states, okay, will have, okay, what is called a disaster emergency funding program. Colorado has one. Okay, we have the disaster emergency fund that we can always tap into it. At any given day, it's used many times, okay, for hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, you name it. Same principle, okay, that entities can come, okay, and tap, okay, into this emergency funding. So can we, okay, with a cyber breach, especially if it's a major cyber breach. Any given time, okay, most states, okay, can tap, okay, into this emergency funding and pull $35 million, $50 million easily. But let's assume, okay, that we have such a major incident, okay, that exceeds what we can tap, okay, into the emergency funding. So, okay, that is $100 million, and we can only take, okay, $35 million, okay, out of the emergency funding system. One of the advantages, okay, that as a state we have is the government of the state can always declare, okay, a state of emergency. If the cost exceeds, we can always, okay, basically at that point, okay, your funding becomes unlimited. It's the same principle. The government is not going to let the state go bankrupt. We can get, okay, into limited debt, okay, we need it. So to me, okay, that's a backup, okay, that corporate America doesn't have. That's why, okay, I was recommending, okay, for them to be able to have, okay, cyber insurance, and for government entities, okay, to go. Another advantage that government entities, we can always activate the National Guard. The National Guard has such a powerful cybersecurity program, okay, it's incredible. Some of the brightest, smartest people. You can always find that, being self-insured, okay, instead of having, okay, an insurance. The program that I'm proposing, okay, to the legislation, okay, will have no deductible. So the beauty of it, okay, is that, again, if the breach, okay, is it is $300 in our annual budget. With a company, the deductible might be $1 million. Most deductible, that's the minimum deductible, okay, that most insurers, okay, are there, is the $1 million. So again, if you have a $1.5 million, okay, breach, that means, okay, you're gonna, I don't think so. But another advantage, okay, to be self-insured is that we'll remain in control of our incident response. That is critical. I'm going to explain why. Most insurance providers will dictate, okay, the vendor that you have to use. It has to be an approved vendor from the provider. Many times, okay, they will actually provide the vendor themselves. They don't even give you an option, okay, from the provider list. They're going to say, this is the vendor that you need to use. Joe, believe me when I tell you, the vendors, okay, that these providers pick people you do not want to have in your team, especially responding to a major emergency. These are the most often, okay, the newbies, the mom and pop shops, okay, that you started, okay, a company, okay, and these are the only ones, okay, that are willing to charge, okay, the insurance company versus the real big guys, okay, that will charge, okay, $250, $350, $450, depending on emergency. So normally, okay, it will give you control, okay, on your vendor selection. And this program, okay, the one that I'm proposing, okay, will have, okay, a preferred vendor, okay, on a retainer. So that way, okay, for incident response, okay, we'll have a faster response. One of the ideas, okay, was to use this money, okay, and create a pool, okay, and be able to accumulate, okay, this pool. That was one option. But then I decided, okay, to go with a different idea, okay, that can help us, okay, increase our security posture. Most states, okay, that I spoke to, they have this pool, and they put this money, okay, in a pool, and if we have a breach, okay, we'll pull from this pool. If we don't have to recollect this money, okay, the following year. My proposal is having the $2 million, okay, the annual budget, not having a pool. And if we don't have a breach at the end of the fiscal year, my proposal is using these $2 million, okay, and investing it back, okay, into the insured entities that we have for the state, into security initiatives like tabletop, pen testing, vulnerability scans, audits, security training, whatever training we want to. So one of the beauty of this is being able to offer, okay, and increase the security posture, okay, by allowing them to use these funds. And then next year, again, it's part of my recurring budget. So every year I'm going to have to go, instead of accumulating, use it, okay, and put it to better use. One of the things, okay, that is important, okay, to also mention, okay, is, especially in Colorado, we're trying to secure, okay, the whole state, okay, and one of our guiding principles, Joe, for the state is no government will be left behind. We believe, in the importance, of being able to help, counties, municipalities, small cities. Imagine, now using this program and allowing any government entity within Colorado to be able to tap, into our self-insured program free of charge. We're not going to charge you. You want to be part, you want to have, cyber insurance, you can tap into ours. However, you have to qualify. And to qualify, you have to meet the following minimum requirements. So we'll come up with the basic. You have to have multi-factor authentication. You have to have encryption. You need to have A, B, C, and D. We can cyber insurance. Now think about for this moment. Now you're going to encourage these entities. Maybe they didn't have multi-factor authentication, but they want to qualify. They're going to go and get multi-factor authentication. So in a way, you are improving the security posture of these smaller governments, these smaller entities. One of the things, that to me is important as a selling point, is this. Going this route, it will increase the partnership and collaboration between the state and the municipalities, the counties, the cities, the small entities, tribes. You can improve partnership and collaboration, with this route. You can improve security posture for everybody across the board. And keep in mind, that when you think, that being able to assist them, with, hey, if you're hit, with a breach, in addition to our cyber insurance, that we're going to cover, the cost, we're going to also assist you, with your incident response because we have the resources now with the state. So being able to do that, for these smaller entities is truly a way, of honoring the guiding principle of no government will be left behind. So to me, it presents, a win-win situation, going with self-insurance. Also, one of the things, that government, can also tap into it is we can leverage, on law enforcement partnerships. That's one thing, that every government entity has, think about this for a second. I have two people, at the FBI Denver office that work for my unit for security. In these federal partners, the advantage is you're building partnership. If we're hit, with a breach, if I approach, the FBI or the Secret Service or Homeland Security, whoever I need to approach, these federal agencies, do you think they're going to say no, when it comes down to helping me out? They're going to jump. They don't want to jeopardize, this partnership, that has been so helpful, both ways. Needless to say, this partnership also helps, with threat intelligence, which is also key, in this area. So hopefully, I didn't take too long, Joe, but that's how I envision, this cyber self-insured program, that I'm trying to sell, to legislation, for the state of Colorado.
Yeah, so there was so much you said. This is why I didn't open my mouth. I just wanted to let you talk. No, this was great. I love the fact that you're building relationships in advance of actually of an emergency happening, because the emergency will happen at some point. The bad guys just got to get it right one time, but having that relationship in advance is fantastic. One question I had as just a quick follow-up was, what states do you see that are the most similar to Colorado right now? When you're talking with your peers, with the other state CISOs, do other states have this no government left behind model? Like, what states are maybe the most similar for you that you are bouncing ideas off?
First of all, I tell you this, Joe, great question. I wish I had my notes because I can actually tell this. I had a list of the state because in my sales point, to the legislation trying to offer this, I actually listed the states, that first self-insured. And those,
yeah, you need a notebook like me. You need a notebook like me.
I have my notes in the computer, so I don't want to interrupt. But basically, I can think of one, from the top of my head, which I have worked, with the CISO, for that state, quite often, is New Hampshire. They have a great model, and they do have, a pool, which is different from what I'm trying to propose. Again, my unique approach is an approach, that we're not going to have an approach, that is a recurring expense for us with the benefit, being able to benefit, again, that's going to improve, my relationship, with everybody in the state and improve, the security posture. I don't know of anybody, I'm sure there are other states, doing this, but I don't know of anybody, currently doing this. That was a question. When I conducted my survey, it was only to know who's insured, who's not insured, and who's self-insured, basically. And for instance, in Texas, okay, at the third largest agency, we went uninsured the entire 5 years I was there. We never had insurance. Because if we're hit with a breach, we could come up, okay, with emergency funding, okay, from our end. But say, okay, that we exceeded that, I would go to the government and say, declare a state of emergency, period. We had no program. We're no insured for the agency, okay? That was my decision at the time. And it worked out, at least for the 5 years, okay, that I was there, okay? We never had to deal with any breaches. So, knock on wood, right?
Yeah.
But
did you pick up the phone? You're like, hey, Nancy, hey, Nancy, I got a question for you.
Nancy's great. I love Nancy. She's
Yeah, she's super awesome. I really love her too. Okay, let's talk about threat intelligence. So on our podcast intro call, you had mentioned that after 9/11, the U.S. government invested heavily into the intelligence agencies that, obviously now we're in this massive cyber war. Can you maybe talk about the importance of intelligence and how you're coordinating in Colorado versus just the many cyber threats across the world?
Well, first of all, great question. Intelligence, I don't know if you've heard me, okay, and with the advantage, okay, of leveraging, okay, the law enforcement partnerships that we have in Colorado, that helps, okay, in our threat intelligence, first of all, because we're able to gather information. But first, okay, I like to say the following. Many people, threat intelligence, they think, okay, many times, okay, that threat intelligence is really vulnerability scanning in a way. They think, okay, that threat intelligence is going and telling you what open ports you have. And again, this is a misconception, okay, in the industry, okay, things, okay, before they even happen, things in the making. That's true threat intelligence. And when you think, okay, about federal government, okay, how after 9/11, okay, they invested heavily, okay, into the intelligence community. I cannot tell you how many times, the federal government, the U.S. government stopped similar events to 9/11 from happening. And it's not that they stopped it, okay, as it was happening, because that would be, okay, like vulnerability scans. Well, they infiltrated. They were part, okay, of this as it was in the making. That, my friend, is true threat intelligence. And that's what a true threat intelligence program does. They want to have people working, okay, in the dark web. Because one of the things, okay, that happens, okay, people don't realize. People talk. So if I'm planning, okay, a cyber attack, okay, on, say, in an agency, okay, in State of Colorado, and most of the time, I'm not going to do it alone. Most of the time, I'm prepping for this. I'm dealing with other people. People talk. It's human nature.
Yeah, all the time.
So this information leaks. And a true threat intelligence analyst is gathering this information, okay, that is speaking. Is participating with these entities, okay, that are trying to cause the breach or the threat, okay. So many times, okay, the U.S. government have had, okay, sources and cover operants, okay, alongside these criminals, and that's how they're gathering, okay, information. So in my opinion, okay, a threat intelligence program, okay, is one of the things, okay, that I'm about to start, again, simply because I want to create, okay, a true threat intelligence program. One, okay, that will be leading in the dark web. One, okay, that will be coexisting, negotiating, talking, okay, with people in the dark web to try to understand, okay, things before they happen, as they're planning the attack. Because, again, I can find, okay, through threat intelligence and through some programs, I can find out, okay, that we have a port open and people, okay, I see communication going back and forth. That's a tool. A tool is telling you what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Threat intelligence requires human brain behind the scene. Somebody, okay, that will come, okay, and be able to tell you and say, hey, listen, I just heard, okay, in the dark web today that they're selling credentials for the state of Colorado for $5,000. I saw, okay, a high bidder, okay, that won for $5,000, and he ended up, okay, with about 100 credentials for the state. That, my friend, is good information because the hacker has not had yet a chance to exploit these accounts. Now, if we already know that these accounts were sold, and we can get hold, okay, of the database, okay, that was sold, that's true threat intelligence. Now we can come, okay, and protect, change the passwords, do whatever we need to do. Normally, if I sell your accounts, okay, that I'm offering, you're going to say you're in the dark web and you're trying to sell accounts. You're not going to come, okay, and buy 100 accounts, okay, from me, 100 good accounts. You're not going to negotiate with me and ask me, give me a sum. I'm selling you 100 accounts, I'm going to give you 5 accounts. Go test that, okay, so you can see that these passwords still work. Because, Joe, think about it. If I tell you that I have 100 accounts, okay, and with current passwords, okay, for the state, how do you know that this password has not been changed? You're not going to go pay $10,000 for this information. Suddenly you get them and all passwords were changed. You ask for a sample. You need to make sure, okay, that your information that you're receiving is valid before you even jump into it. So that's buying you some time. If you can find out, okay, when the information took place, you still have time to go and correct and make a difference before something happens. Does that make sense, okay, with that example?
Oh, yeah. No, I love that example.
And
oh, yeah. No, it's great.
The federal government had done, okay, with 9/11-like attacks, okay, many times, okay, they stopped incidents, okay, where people were planning bombs, where people were planning and we were giving them fake bombs for them to carry out their terrorist act. You know what I'm saying? Imagine, we're even controlling what we're giving them. Hey, here's a bomb. They're thinking that they actually have a bomb. And it was allowing us, okay, to gather who the players were, what their target was, what their intention was. That, my friend, is valuable information that you don't get through tools. You need, okay, that human mind. You need, okay, somebody wearing, okay, that cop hat in the dark web all day gathering information, intelligence information. I learned that, okay, I mean, there are many people out there, okay, I truly know, or I feel I know, okay, probably the best threat intelligence analyst I ever met. I learned that from him, that it was critical coming to always have the human factor right behind it.
That's great. So there's the critical human factor, which I love. You hear a lot about AI and everything, but at the end, there's still a human behind the scenes partnering to make sure, because at the end of the day, humans are still going out and deploying. There's someone behind the scenes, so you need someone to go to work and figure that out. I love that. That's fantastic.
I assisted the FBI, the Secret Service, on national security matters. At the time, okay, I mean, this is back in '95. I created what I called 9 handles at the time. These were users, hackers, that I was going to lead them, okay, to become famous through time. Because when I normally do business, okay, with a newly hacked person, okay, I mean, who doesn't have a reputation, I maintain these names and slowly, okay, through intelligence information, I burned them as I was going. My last handle, I burned, okay, in 2011. But imagine, I was able to keep this hacker, okay, from 1995. He was very well known, very well respected. Little people have no clue that this person was working, okay, for the intelligence community, for the FBI and Secret Service and all the things. So I really worked hard, okay, on building these handles so that way I would have other hackers in the community. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I love that. Do you know Tim Romer by chance? Does that name ring a bell?
Yes.
Is Tim Romer? Yeah, so he's the director of Homeland Security and the State CISO in Arizona. Back in the day, he actually worked at the CIA in the White House. And there's actually a funny photo of Tim where he looks super young and he's with Barack Obama at the time. So when you leave the CIA, he was telling me the kind of last day in office, you get a photo with the president and they got this like high powered camera. So that's your going out photo. But he worked 8 years there and he was on the podcast talking about the same thing you were talking about, how much that experience was so valuable working in the White House situation room. Is you don't actually work for the president or any party, you just work for the CIA, right? So you're behind the scenes, and that work that you're talking about is critical, I think, super important, which I found some CISOs who have that experience seem like they're really dialed in. So it's a great.
So remember, okay, at one time, okay, I was working on a plot, okay, that was taking place, that was in the building, and I actually used 2 of my handles. One, to gain the trust, okay, of the person that I needed, and the other handle to actually do the opposite. Type in one computer, say, hey, don't trust this guy, I bet he's a cop. Even though I'm that guy. So at this guy, whatever, dude, what are you talking about? I'm not a cop. Okay, I say, I bet you are. So I was protecting this other hacker to gain his trust by telling him, don't believe myself, right? So it was an interesting conversation, dealing with 2 monitors at the time, okay, trying to keep 2 conversations going.
I'm now never going to trust an email that comes through from you now, because you're just going to be messing with me now. Okay, so the last point we had, you had these kind of 4 pillars. So I just want to summarize for the audience. Centralized, decentralized, we're talking about governments, the cyber insurance, the threat intelligence, and the last pillar that we were talking about is recruiting, right? As people are critical. How are you hiring cyber talent right now? Where are you looking for talent? How are you retaining talent? Love to hear your thoughts on that.
Joe, great question. And everybody, when you talk to CISOs, when you talk to anybody in security, they're having a hard time finding good talent. It's unbelievable. Okay, and then the big companies they're the ones able to afford Navy SEALs out there. To me, the way I have found talent, most of my career has been through connections, through partnerships, to people I have known, and through networking. Because, God, Joe, I can put a resume right now for you, perfect resume, and I can lie 100% that. How are you going to truly verify this? Do you know how difficult that is? I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people exaggerate, people inflate resumes, people make up stuff in resume. So you truly have to rely on the reputation of this person. And when you think about the security experts out there, my goodness, a lot of people call themselves security experts. They're not. Very few of what are called the true Navy SEALs out there that I actually have respect for their knowledge and for what they do. So networking is key. How do you retain this talent? How do you keep them from not going and not moving to the next major opportunity? Because the moment you have them and the moment you train them, they become more valuable, they leave. That's typical in this industry. So how do you retain them? And this is when I preach way too many times about this is you have to lead with a heart. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people forget the importance of the human factor. We have to be humans first and foremost before anything else. We cannot treat people like objects. We have to treat people with respect. We have to care about people. And nowadays, it seems that is lacking in what I see. You don't see the true leadership. Leaders that they want to lead and make a difference. If you don't have that, you lose the very foundation that you need to retain your people. And to give you an example, in Texas, in the agency I was, we had zero turnover. People did not leave. And I'm going to tell you a story about that. We, as an agency, we had the lowest salary of any other state agency in Texas. So how did I achieve zero turnover with the lowest salary in the industry? My people, Joe, were getting offers left and right. 20, 30, 40, and up to 50% of what they were making coming and working for the state, just a different agency. All they had to do was switch from one agency to another one. They were able to make 50% more. That's a big salary increase. And they were after my people because they knew we became a powerhouse. When I took over this agency, the security unit was very poor. By the time I left, we had one of the strongest security units for the state. So people would call me after my people all the time. In fact, my right-hand person, she would get offers weekly. Yet she was there. Yet she's now the new CISO. She actually took over my role. So to me, you have to care about people. You have to mentor people. You have to teach them leadership. And my right is a great example. This is an individual, Joe, that had no security experience, zero. She wanted to get into security. She was working with help desk, and she was interested in security. Somebody asked me to meet with her. I did what I call in Texas, a courtesy interview. So I interviewed her, but I could see her attitude. I could see this person had what it took. Just by talking to somebody, you could tell, you could see. At the end of the day, I made the decision, risky decision. I actually offered the job to this individual that had no experience. And I remember, her first week at the job, I sent her to take the CISSP. I just threw her into the water with the sharks.
In the deep end, yeah. Push her on the deep end, yep.
But again, this is an individual that I mentor, that I coach, that I train, and now she's the new CISO for the agency. I guarantee. I bet everything I have, she will do a much better job than I ever did when I was there. That I can bet. So, Joe, it's important to care about people. It's important, to show, the leadership. It's important to teach people, to lead with a heart. Care about the people, that you're working for. Because at the end of the day, we think, that they are here public servant was servicing the public. But guess what? You're also servicing your own people. One of my favorite leadership philosophy, servant leadership. I truly believe, that's one of the best way, to lead, by being a servant. And that has been my philosophy coming for the last 2 decades. I want to serve the people, that work for me. I mean, because we're in all this together. But caring about your people, they want to see, if you are truly a genuine leader, that you're an honest leader. And believe me, you will learn, that money is not everything. And I remember, when I went to work for the state of Texas, I took an $85 pay cut, not including bonuses. And many people ask me, what in the world are you doing? My wife goes, what? We'll never leave. She was like, oh my God. And she goes, why are you crazy calling in our life? And making money was not my calling. Making a difference was my calling. And here, being a public servant, you have the opportunity to make a difference every day of your life. And it's important to remind the people that work for you that they are all making a difference. Because again, if they want to make money, I can go get a job at one of the big tech companies, and they're going to pay them 2-3 times what they're making here. But are they going to be making a difference the way that they can make a difference right now? So imagine that. That we have an ability. I tell people, to be superheroes every day. And our superpower, is that, being able to help others make difference, in this world. And to me, that's priceless. There's no company out there, that can offer me enough money, for me to want to. In my opinion, I love, what I do. Now, in this new position, I love it even more because I have a greater chance and a greater opportunity to make even bigger difference. Before, I could only make a difference, in one agency. Now I can make a difference of many other agencies, if that makes sense. I truly believe, that leaders is what makes a difference. You can offer, the usual stuff, offer them training, help them grow, mentor them. As they want to leave your company, basically. But treat them so well that they will never want to leave. Does that make sense? It's almost like an oxymoron, that contradicts. You want to give them the tools, you want to help them grow, you want to train them, you want to mentor them, so that way you can prep them, for the next job. That way you can prep them, for them to want to. But you're going to treat them so well and with so much respect that they'll never want to take that job. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's an emotional heartstring. And I love that because people always will stay with somebody or stay with a boss if they know that person cares about them and has their best interests. And then I want to unpack 2 pieces because you had a lot of really great stuff in there. And I know we're running out of time, but I want to dial this in. So networking, retaining people. So very quickly, because if we could do a 2 or 3 hour podcast, but very quickly on the networking front, what's 1 or 2 of your favorite open-ended questions that you ask potential employees when you're interviewing, or maybe not even when you're interviewing, maybe when you're at a Starbucks or you're at a conference? What are 1 or 2 open-ended questions that you ask that kind of pique your interest on a cybersecurity front?
Usually ask questions, that are not associated with a resume or with a job. I want to find out, about the personality. So one of a good questions, and I haven't asked this yet, but I used to ask her, especially in the one of my number 1 questions was, I would straight on their eyes and I said, do you lie? And I would love to see, how they would react, because no, I never lie. And you go say, that's just a lie. Right there, because it's impossible for humans not to lie. Somehow, some way,
100%.
Some people lie more than others. Some people lie less than others. But people justify themselves and come and say, I don't lie. I just exaggerate. That's the way of lying. I'm sorry. I don't care how you want to sell it. But it was one of those questions that would set a baseline going forward. You already knew, am I dealing with a BS or not? So that was the number 1 question I would ask people, do you lie? And guess what? When interviewing criminals, you go, okay. But anyhow, that's one of those. But then, of course, come life-changing experience that forever. That's a good one. It will tell you, a lot about their personality. It will tell you, how they see the world. Because I'm not kidding, I have people, I ask that question, tell me about a life-changing experience. I remember, one time, that, and they would mention something stupid, Joe. They would come, and say, I remember one time, that I had an accident in my car was stolen. And that changed my life forever. And you go, again, for that person, maybe it was shocking, but it tells you a lot about the perspective of the person. Obviously, you haven't lived very much, because if that's the biggest, most shocking thing, okay, that changed your life experience, okay, has been minimal, or you're only focused on the material things. And then, of course, that bothers you because the cost of the vehicle. So it's interesting to see what people are going to respond, okay, to that question. It will tell you, okay, the maturity level, but more importantly for me, it will tell you, okay, are they people, okay, that can have a heart, live with a heart, be a human factor? That question will answer that, okay? Because depending on the answer, you're going to get a good feel, okay, and say, oh, this is a great human being. This is somebody I would definitely want in my team. Because that's another thing, Joe. I can give you the smartest person right now. And if this person cannot work well with you, it's useless to you and your team. Even though he can have all the certifications, all the degrees. So you need to know emotionally and personally, will this person be a good fit for my culture before you bring them in? So that's one question, okay, that to me, okay. Another question I asked in the past, nobody would ever guess. Okay, I mean, if you told them I did this, and some people would come up, okay, and say, oh, God, I was a sailor. And you go, what? And now you're the cyber, oh, I was a midwife. Or they will come up, okay, with things, okay, that definitely you would not expect, okay, I mean, and those are great questions. Tell me something, okay, that nobody would ever guess about you. So now I'm going to ask you this, Joe. Do you lie?
Oh, do I? Oh, I lied today. Can I tell you?
Sure, go for it.
Can I tell you what I lied about? So I went to get coffee with my wife at Handlebar Coffee, and there's a sign that's like, hey, 15-minute parking. And my wife, if we get lattes, it's going to be more than 15 minutes. And I was like, don't worry about it. We'll just lie. The parking people, don't worry about it. It's going to happen. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I really wanted the coffee. It's going to happen. There's all kinds of funny stuff I do.
A good reason for it. If we will lie, it's normal. I mean, I'll give you an example. I remember my daughter was 7 years old, okay, and one of the cats, okay, was really sick, okay, we had a cat, and we took the cat, okay, to the vet, okay, and the cat had cancer, and the vet said, okay, I highly recommend to euthanize the cat. So, of course, I told my wife and daughter, go wait in the car. I stayed with the cat died in my arms. When I come out, okay, my daughter asked, where is the cat? I said, oh, they're going to leave her for the weekend there. You know what I mean? Observation, just to see if her health improved. I just didn't have the heart to talk like that. I wanted to first get used to not being with the cat for about a week. And then that's what I did. Okay, a week later, I said, hey, baby, I just heard from the vet. Unfortunately, okay, the cat died. I didn't have the heart to tell her, okay, I just euthanized and killed the cat. I couldn't. Whatever the reasons are, it's human nature. I mean, we lie, okay, about goofy little things, but to me, that was almost like an icebreaker. Just to ask that.
Oh, yeah. I got a great one. So for those who have kids, if you're a parent out there, you learn really quickly between what you say and what you do, because the kids, when they start to get old enough, they start to call you out on it. It's probably the ultimate where you're like, oh, okay, now I just said that and I did something else. So now they think I'm lying the entire time. And then you have to reconcile with this kid's going to hold me accountable. That's actually a really funny one. So if you're ever in the interview process and you're with someone's kids, you could ask them, hey, what's your dad or mom? What do they lie about?
Think about this for a second, Joe. First of all, the more people lie, okay, this is a correlation I made, okay, throughout the years. Pay attention to the lie. The unhappier they are. Now, think of Gandhi used to say, the trick to happiness is you want to be happy. Gandhi used to say, you have to align your words, your thoughts, and your actions. They have to be in perfect harmony. Think about how deep, okay, that is. How many times, okay, we say something that inside of us we don't think, okay, or agree with it. Or do something, okay, that we don't think, okay, or even say. So if you can have your words, your thoughts, and your actions in perfect alignment, you're going to reach to, he used to say. Try to do that daily if I can.
Yeah, you admit you're a work in progress. So am I. All right, we're going to end up with this. We're going to end with leading with the heart. You're going to be able to have a much better team, better culture. I love this conversation we had today. Ray, where can people find you at? Where's your favorite spot? LinkedIn or Twitter? Where are you kind of most active?
As unfortunate as it sounds, I don't have any social media, not even LinkedIn. And the reason for that is I used to testify so often. I mean, I had testified, in federal and civil courts, over my career. So that was the first spot, basically the first spot, that opposing counsel would go discredit you, basically. So I never had any of those Facebook, WhatsApp, nothing, that is even social media related, I have. So if people want to reach out to me, they can reach out, at repes.com. So my first name, last name together.com.
Awesome. And you can subscribe and follow the Tech Tables podcast for when Ray comes out. Ray, this is awesome. Thank you for coming on Tech Tables. I really appreciated it today.
Your podcast, and truly, out of all the podcasts out there, I believe you have the best one. Honest, not because I'm part of it, you have the best one. And you have really some good Navy SEALs out there. I'm telling you, you have some very smart, some talented people, and you have done a fantastic job, sir. Believe me.
I just asked the questions. Everyone else fills in the great conversations. So thank you, Ray. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You're listening to the Public Sector Show by Tech Tables, a podcast dedicated to sharing human-centric stories from CIOs and technology leaders across the city, county, state, and federal agencies, joining in the conversation and touching the hearts and minds of leaders across technology today. From mission-driven leadership to cloud, AI to cybersecurity, workforce challenges, and more. Never miss insights from peers and vendor partners across the public sector. And to make sure you never miss an episode, head over to techtables.com and drop your email to subscribe. New podcast episodes come out every Tuesday and Thursday, along with weekly Behind the Mic newsletter. And one of today's podcast sponsors is Tech Tables Plus, an engaging new community where you can have early access to never before released episodes, early access to live event recordings, early access to weekly 3 interesting learnings, early access to live event ticket purchases, no episode ads, and more. Plus 3 extra special bonuses when you sign up today. Bonus number 1, access to the CEO show. Bonus number 2, access to the Higher Ed show. And bonus number 3, access to the Digital show. Join Tech Tables Plus today. As always, thank you for supporting the Tech Tables Network.